G'day and thanks for watching the latest episode of our YouTube travel series. Now this is a double header as we join AAT Kings on their Tastes of Southern Australia guided adventure from Sydney down to Melbourne, where I am at the moment, and across to Adelaide. Now in this video we'll cover 10 amazing things to see and do on the road from Sydney to Melbourne. So let's take a look at what's coming up. In this video, we'll marvel at one of the country's most impressive bigs. Pay our respects at the Australian War Memorial in Canberra. Give a poetic dog a bone in Gundagai. Get on the trail of bearded bushrangers in Beechworth and Glenrowan. Pound the pavement in Melbourne's maze of laneways. And much more. But before we say g'day to our AAT Kings travel director Delma, take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring travel ideas.
G'day to you too, Adam. I'm Delma. I've been a travel director with AAT Kings for 9 years and travel all over Australia, and it's so diverse. You know, we have an amazing country, and for me to have that opportunity to just travel and see it and showcase it to everybody, it's fabulous.
Why do you think doing a trip with AAT Kings like the one we're about to do is such a great way to explore these parts of Australia?
You know, there's long distances to travel and we do it in the comfort of the coach. We have videos, movies, we talk about the history, geography of places that we travel through, which a lot of people don't hear. And you don't have to worry. Once you meet me, everything is done for you.
And that includes, of course, your accommodation, which is exceptional, I have to say. Each hotel is well located and porterage is included at several properties, meaning your luggage is taken up to your room for you and brought down again in the morning.
All right, I'm looking forward to getting underway. So shall we get this show on the road?
I'm excited, Adam. Yes, let's go.
Departing Sydney with our affable driver Darren at the wheel, we head down the M31 towards the nation's capital, Canberra. Our first stop of the day is the charming southern Highlands village of Berrima, a Georgian-era jumble of cafes, boutiques and cellar doors. One of the must-sees here is the old Berrima Courthouse, which began dispensing colonial justice back in the 1830s. From Berrima, it's an hour's drive to Goulburn, Australia's first inland city and now home to one of the country's most impressive big things. The Big Merino pays homage to the region's wool industry, and a selfie with this woolly mammoth is a must. An hour further on, we make our final stop en route into Canberra. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about this adventure with AAT Kings is the array of included bespoke experiences in the itinerary. And if you thought that the Big Merino in Goulburn looked like it could do with a bit of a haircut, well, we have come to the right place. Gold Creek Station is located on the outskirts of Canberra and has been a working sheep farm since the 1860s. Today it hosts functions and tour groups, and our host John kicks off proceedings with a demonstration of the role of the farmer's best friend in keeping the flock in line. Now, rounding up the sheep is only one part of the equation. You also have to shear them, and that's where the hard work really begins. Mechanical shears became a thing in Australia in the late 19th century. Before that, it was done by hand. But the requirement to put your back into it hasn't changed. This AAT Kings trip features several meals in the itinerary, and our lunch here at Gold Creek Station is one of them. And the classic Aussie barbecue never tasted so good. There are plenty of highlights of our stay in Canberra, including a drive up to Mount Ainslie Lookout for a bird's eye view of this planned city. As the light begins to fade, we head over to the must-visit Australian War Memorial to attend the Last Post ceremony. It takes place in the commemorative courtyard 364 days a year, and each day features just one of the thousands of names listed on the Roll of Honour. The emotive ceremony concludes with the sounding of the last post. Now, I am an old Aussie softie from way back. Delma has already had me in tears on the coach with Waltzing Matilda, and I still call Australia home. If she pulls out the road to Gundagai, the floodgates will open. And here we are, just a few kilometres from that iconic Aussie town, and over my shoulder you might be able to spot one of the country's best loved treasures. Continuing south down the mighty M31, we cross the border into Victoria and hightail it over to the heritage township of Beechworth. Built on the back of the gold rush, there's a particular building I'm keen to see here, but it's not the old telegraph station, or the bank, or even the former gold office. Beechworth Bakery is best known for its custard-filled bee stings, but I'm an aficionado on country bakery sausage rolls, and this one's a beaut. Now, tucking into that fine flaky feast possibly wasn't the best idea, as over at the Hotel Nicholas, publican Lorraine has put on a surprise afternoon tea for our group, and it looks way too delicious to pass up. Lorraine is a local history buff, and we settle in for a chat about the region's backstory, including that of Ned Kelly. To many, a story of oppression and racial discrimination, as much as that of a notorious criminal. It's an engrossing afternoon. Following an overnight stay in regional hub Wangaratta, we head deeper into Kelly country. Now, as we heard yesterday from Lorraine in Beechworth, the story of the Kelly gang is actually quite a complex one, probably more so than I realised. But today we get to bring all the threads together here in the town of Glenrowan. Of course, the Kellys' last stand took place at the Glenrowan Inn on the 28th of June 1880, and the fabulous new Ned Kelly Discovery Hub is an absolute must-see. The Ned Kelly Discovery Hub opened in mid-2023 and chronicles the events leading up to the Kellys' siege of the Glenrowan Inn, dressed in their famous armour, which was fashioned from parts of farming ploughs. Ned Kelly was injured in the clash with authorities, but survived and was taken to Melbourne to stand trial for murder. It's a story that continues to resonate almost 150 years later. We're soon heading into Melbourne for a 2-night stay, and exploring couldn't be easier thanks to the city's tram network and free tram zone.
Now, one of the trams that's going to be of the most interest to visitors is the number 35, which does a loop around the city with stops at most of the key attractions. Commentary is provided, which is fantastic. And of course, what I love about it is that the classic W-class trams operate on that route, built between 1920 and roughly 1950. They're absolutely packed with character. Now, all I need is one to come along.
And hey presto, we're off. More than 750 W-class trams were built here in Melbourne, but today only a small fleet remains in service. Nevertheless, the veteran vehicles continue to play a role in keeping the city on the move. Stay on for the full loop or hop off and on as often as you like. Hopping off at Flinders Street Railway Station and Federation Square, it's time to meet Matt at Fit City Tours for a guided stroll through the city's eclectic laneways.
Yeah, so we've been entertaining guests from AAT Kings for over a year now into Melbourne. So we take them on our History and Doughnuts walking tour, which is a 2.5-hour walking tour through Melbourne, weaving in and out of the city laneways, stopping for coffee after about 20-25 minutes. Bit of a walk and talk, casual style walking tour, coffee in one hand, we're talking at the same time, sharing the stories. So very laid back, very casual approach. Also, the important bit is we stop for donuts a couple times as well on our tours. That's some of well, we'll keep them a secret for when you guys do come on our tour.
And if someone's never been to Melbourne before, talking about laneways, well, what does that mean in the context of the city?
Yeah, so the laneways through Melbourne are originally just access lanes for the early buildings of Melbourne and businesses. But as a lot of those things have moved out of the city, either to suburbs or offshore, a lot of these laneways were repurposed as other things. So whether it's street art, whether it's cafes, restaurants, gardens, and so on.
How about you tell us about Guildford Lane?
Yeah, Guildford Lane is something you wouldn't notice approaching it. It's sort of, as you turn a corner, bang, right in front of you is wall-to-wall gardens on the walls, which is great. Something you would not expect, otherwise nondescript laneway. Turning in, there it is, right in front of you. It's often a bit of a surprise for the guests. They're like, oh wow, this is cool. So something a bit different from the street art, the cafes and other laneways. Guildford Lane has got its own little culture. A few good cafes through there, some of the best bacon and eggs in Melbourne you'll find down there as well. Yeah.
And just a footnote to Matt's tour. It ends at the State Library, Victoria. So take this opportunity to check out the magnificent domed reading room and Ned Kelly's armour, which is on permanent display. It's a fitting point to wrap up this part of our trip. In part 2 of this video, we'll continue on to Adelaide with Delma and Darren via the Great Ocean Road and with a side trip to incomparable Kangaroo Island. For more ideas for amazing things to do between Sydney and Melbourne, just head to our website.